The clock on the wall ticked past midnight as the on-air sign glowed red in the small-town radio station. Avery Lane, a night shift DJ, leaned back in her chair, sipping lukewarm coffee. It was another quiet night in Graywood, Maine, population just under 3,000. Most nights were like this, lonely. Avery liked it that way. After fleeing a messy breakup in Boston, the night shift felt safe. No calls. No drama. Just her soft voice over the airwaves, playing old rock songs for the occasional insomniac trucker. But that night was different. At exactly 12:17 a.m., the phone rang. The studio's phone barely rang at night, and Avery almost didn't answer. "Graywood FM, you're live," she said, her voice cheerful but tired. A man's voice came through, low and strained. "You need to leave. Right now." Avery frowned. "Excuse me?" "Get out of the station. Lock the doors. Don't make a sound." Something in his tone froze her blood. It wasn't a prankster's voice, it was trembling, urgent. "Sir, is this some kind of joke?" The line went dead. She sat in stunned silence for a moment, then shook her head and muttered, "Weird." She hung up and switched to another track. 3 minutes later, the phone rang again. "Graywood FM," she answered cautiously. This time, it was a whisper. "They're already in the building." Avery's heart slammed against her ribs. "Who is this?" she hissed. No answer. Just static. She hung up, scanning the dim studio. The soundproof walls muffled everything, but she thought she heard movement. A faint shuffle, like someone dragging a foot on tile. She grabbed her phone and texted her coworker, Nick, who usually left by 10. "Did you forget something?" No reply. Footsteps. Avery decided to check the hallway. She switched the music playlist to auto, slipped off her headphones, and grabbed the heavy flashlight from her desk. The hallway outside was dark, none of the overhead lights were on. The smell of burnt coffee and dust filled the air. She listened. Her breath caught. "Nick? If this is you, it's not funny," she called softly. No response. She edged toward the break room, her flashlight beam shaking. The door was ajar. Slowly, she pushed it open. Empty. She exhaled shakily, lowering her flashlight. Bang! A loud crash echoed from the far end of the building. The newsroom. Heart pounding, Avery crept down the hall toward the source of the noise. It came from the old newsroom, a storage space now filled with boxes of old tapes. The door was closed. She reached for the knob, but froze when she heard it, a low, wet breathing sound from inside. Suddenly, a sharp knock rattled the door from the other side. She stumbled back, biting her lip to stifle a scream. Another knock. Louder. Then silence. She backed away slowly, turned, and ran back toward the studio. Her plan was simple: lock herself in the studio, call 911, and wait. She reached for the studio door, only to find it closed. She grabbed the handle. It was locked. From the inside. Avery's pulse skyrocketed. She hadn't locked it. She never locked it. Then she heard it. From inside the studio, through the soundproof glass, came the soft crackle of a microphone being adjusted. And a voice. Her own voice. "Good evening, Graywood. I'm Avery Lane, and tonight's broadcast is a special one. I'll be playing some tracks while you get ready for bed." It was her pre-recorded intro. But she hadn't cued it. The red on-air light glowed brighter than ever. The figure. A shadow moved behind the glass. Avery's heart stopped. There was someone in the studio, sitting in her chair, speaking into her microphone. The figure was hunched over, its face obscured by a hood. "How?" she whispered. The figure slowly turned toward her, as if sensing her watching. Even through the glass, she could feel its stare. Then the studio lights flickered out. The hallway chase. Avery bolted. She sprinted down the hallway, her flashlight beam bouncing wildly. She could hear footsteps now, fast, heavy, following her. She reached the back door and yanked the handle. It wouldn't budge. She slammed her shoulder against it, panic surging, before giving up and darting toward the side exit. Locked. Every door was locked. The footsteps grew louder. She ducked into a storage closet, slamming the door shut and pressing herself against it, shaking violently. The sound of footsteps stopped outside. Silence. Then, a whisper. Avery. Her flashlight flickered, and she realized the closet wasn't empty. She turned the beam and nearly screamed. Nick. Her coworker's lifeless body was crumpled in the corner, his face pale, his throat slashed. The flashlight slipped from her hand, clattering loudly. The whisper outside turned into slow, deliberate laughter. The doorknob rattled. The crawlspace. Desperate, Avery scanned the closet for an escape and spotted a small crawlspace panel near the floor. She yanked it open and crawled through, ignoring the cobwebs and dust choking her. Behind her, the closet door creaked open. Avery, the voice sang softly. She crawled faster, scraping her knees on the wooden boards, until she found another panel and shoved it open. She emerged in the basement, gasping for air. The basement was pitch black except for a faint glow from a row of old television monitors against the wall. They all showed live feeds of the station, from every hallway, every office. And one was showing her. A grainy feed from the basement camera showed her standing right where she was. On the screen, a tall figure stepped out of the shadows behind her. Avery spun around, flashlight trembling, but saw nothing. Then the lights went out completely. The last thing she heard was her own pre-recorded voice on the speakers. Good night, Greywood, and sweet dreams. 2 days later, the morning shift DJ arrived to find the studio perfectly clean. Avery's car was still in the lot, her coffee cup half full on the desk. On the console, a single cassette tape sat labeled in black marker. The last broadcast. When the police played it, all they heard was Avery's voice, laughing.